everybody. You got the DCL Dorks here, Brian and Erika. We're back here again talking to our new friends, Duke and Stephanie. Just kind of getting their feedback on they went on the very first Disney cruise here just a couple weeks ago, and just kind of I'm remembering back to when I went on my first Disney cruise, and just kind of sharing some of our feedback of what they found and what we remember from that time. So my biggest, and this one's a little more geared towards the kids, because when Erika and I first started cruising, she had 2 kids when I came into the relationship, and they were 6 and 8 at the time. So when we took our very first cruise, they were pretty young. And we still take them on the cruises with us, so they're lucky. But Duke and Stephanie had the same deal where they came in and they took their kids on their cruise too. So I think we're going to kind of talk about like what the DCL cruising can mean for the kids, and what some of the things that they can do and the fun that they can have.
Well, let's start with your youngest. Your youngest was 4 on her very first Disney cruise. So tell us about how she did and how you guys did and what that experience was like.
Can I preface it really quickly?
Sure.
So we went down. Let me preface this with a little I'll make it as short and sweet as I can. We went down in April of 21 because as an agent, I wanted to see what it felt like to be there with COVID restrictions.
To the parks.
Yeah, sorry. That's what I said. And so he's walking around going like, oh my gosh, Lorelai would lose her mind. Lorelai would lose her mind. I was like, you mean in December? Like if we, because we had decided we were going to do a surprise trip for the kids. Yes, she'll lose her mind. I'm like, no, she's going to be like 3.5 barely. Like, no, this is not a good idea. Oh no, but come on, can you see her face? I'm like, no, she's going to lose her because input overload, it's tiring, it's too much. We get to like 2-3 o'clock, which I like to call the child witching hour. And he was like, ooh, okay, all right. I think I'm starting to understand. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it would be too much. We're leaving Universal the next day. We're leaving Universal Studios, walking up next to the Globe. And there's his father, who's, I think, 4-year-old, actually, 3 or 4-year-old, was losing her bananas, was going nuts and throwing a fit, kicking and screaming. He had to pick her up and fireman carry her over his shoulder. And she's like still kicking and screaming and throwing a fit because she wanted something. And again, it's like 3-4 o'clock and Duke's like, yeah, okay, no. I was like, you see my point, because when you take younger kids, don't get me wrong, it can be really great because they really like we talked about before in the last video, they don't know that it's a friend inside of, a headpiece. They think that's real. So they're still in that magic when they're little. But it's a different experience because you have to cater your day around the needs of that youngest person who's going to get tired and who needs to rest and who needs to eat again and so that's why when we took our first trip down to Disney with the kids, we just took Lucas and Aaron, who at the time it was 7 and 15, and even for Lucas, like halfway through the day, we're like,
pretty bad.
Let's go. So I had mentioned even then it would be actually really great if we could introduce Lorelai to Disney on a cruise, because then we have a lot more flexibility. It's not as the parks can be with kids, and it should be a lot better. And it also, I think the biggest thing, and this is what I tell anybody, the characters. There's so many characters all the time, everywhere. You don't get that in the parks. You just don't get that.
I guess you could get it in the parks if you want to wait 2 hours.
Right. Well, but even then, so like there's only so many you can get to.
Yeah.
And there's long lines, and you have to use lightning lanes for that. If you don't want to wait as long.
Or watch them all go by on a parade.
Right.
Look, it's the characters. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
You're there.
So yeah. I think that was the biggest thing. And,
so I would say for her, to put it in a single word, her reaction to the cruise in one word was starstruck.
Oh.
What was your favorite thing about the cruise? Minnie. I said, okay, what else? Rapunzel. Okay, what else? Tiana. Okay, anything else? And she just literally kept listing the characters. And we were like, so Aaron says, so character experiences. Yeah,
starstruck. Every time. Just this look, this big eyes, suddenly very shy, don't know what to do, don't know what to say, and couldn't take her eyes off the character half the time, right? Like even when you're trying to get pictures, it's like, look over here, it's one of those.
I have this great one with her next to Rapunzel where she's She was looking out the side of her eyes like, oh my God.
He's right
It's
there,
classic.
Mom.
Right. It was perfect.
What was the kid club experience like for her? Did she, or the Oceaneers club?
She enjoyed it.
Did she?
She gets hangry very quickly, and she's in that stubborn phase. So I don't think that I think it could have been better for her if she was past the stubborn phase or past the angry phase. So there were some challenges that the cast members had to deal with, but they handled it. I mean, I think there was one day that we had to come get her because she was just that far over the stubborn line. But for the most part, the cast members are really, really good with kids, and we're able to get her to calm back down and go back to playing. And other than that, she had a blast. Was regularly wanting to go back, in the morning. Go kids club. Go to kids club. So it was, if we didn't, for whatever reason, we walked past it, she was just like, no, we're going this way. This is and you had to almost chase her to stop her. So yeah, I think that she would really enjoyed that time of being able to just play and have all the fun.
Yeah.
She loved the simulator in the Star Wars area. She actually loved the simulator. I don't blame her.
No.
I wanted to stay there.
Well, I think the big takeaway when we were going on for the first time with the kids was the room situation, because there was going to be 4 of us, 2 adults, 2 fairly young kids at the time, and we only booked the one room, and I think the first one, did we even have the veranda?
The first one we did because I wanted you to have a way to escape.
You were worried that I was going to go nuts, so you wanted to give us that extra like 8 square feet, to whatever it is. It's more than that. It's probably about 4 foot deep and about 10 foot wide. But anyways, it does give you the ability to kind of, if the things are just going crazy in the room, you can just step out on the veranda and just kind of take in the breeze. But we had the room, and so I was like, oh, this is going to be tough. It's going to be tight. We're all going to be mushed in there. But we had one of the rooms, and Disney has most of the rooms are this way, where you've got the 2 kind of bathrooms or sink areas. So one room's a sink with a toilet, and then the other room's got the sink and the tub/shower combo. So what I really liked, like when we were getting ready for dinner, with the kids, is I could be in one area shaving or whatever, brushing my teeth, putting my clothes on or whatever for dinner, and one of the kids could be in one of the other ones. So it just gave you kind of the ability for 2 people to get ready kind of at this simultaneously, which I really liked.
So how did you guys handle that, having 2 adults and 3 kiddos?
We actually ended up with 2 staterooms, so
Okay.
we had 4 of those prep areas.
Nice.
And that worked out really well because the kids got one stateroom that had the pull down bunk, which is really, really cool to have. We put all 3 kids in that space. Aaron got the queen size bed, and then the 2 kids got the pull down bunk and the underneath bunk.
Disney bed.
And
oh my God.
We got our own space to sleep in, which was lovely because it let us have coffee in the morning quietly, prep things quietly without waking them up. But yeah, during prep time, when it was like, okay, let's get ready for bed, let's go take the kids, we could separate them and put them in separate rooms. Go, you brush your teeth over here, and you brush your teeth over here. And it's just wonderful because they're at that age where they constantly butt heads.
Yeah.
So
when does that age end? Does anyone know?
When one goes to college,
is what I've heard.
Home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See no evil.
It was pretty amazing.
It was
definitely
great.
worth the time.
And you had a veranda too. So how was that with the kids?
Oh golly, it was so nice. And I seriously, I just want to go back so I can have coffee in the morning on the veranda. But we did have the partition down, so that was nice. So it felt like you have still half a partition. You just have that one spot that folds down. But it's nice because then when the kids did get up, we would set them up, and they would have fruit and some pastries and juice or whatever, and they could sit over there. We could still have our spot, and it was great. All of us could sit out there and just relax. I also really appreciated the locking mechanisms on the doors and just how hard those doors are to open, just because it was like some reassurance of, okay, there's no way that my kid is going to open this door.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any issues, or did you feel unsafe? Obviously, probably not, but with them being out there with the plexiglass and feeling like they're going to, all right, I'm going to turn around and they're going to climb over.
Yeah, no, but it also might be partially because at one point I had said something to the effect of, You cannot stand on the chairs or anything out on the veranda. You only get to stand on your feet because if you go overboard, then you're lost and we won't come back and get you.
Yeah. The Disney magic ends at this railing. There's no magic else to see.
Tinkerbell will not sprinkle the fairy dust and get you back in.
To be like, well, not really, but I did stress to them, like, this is a big deal. This is what could be in the water. This is, you may not be so we did have a discussion about that beforehand, but no, they didn't even really want to. Yeah, like, they just kind of stood out there, looked around and sat down and went back in the room. A lot of times they went back in the room and turned on the TV, and I was like, but all
and they're like, but
right.
But it's like having Disney Plus.
My bunk bed.
Well, yeah,
right.
Yeah. Watch anything you want,
on
at any
demand.
time, on demand, yeah.
So when you you had a 10-year-old, and how did he do? Because I know a lot of people think that it's a girls thing, or it's only for, girls and princesses and that kind of thing. So what was his perspective and his takeaway being a 10-year-old boy on a cruise ship? So
I'll share what I took him to, and then if you want to talk about Pirate Night,
sure, yeah.
That's how we can spin that. So okay, this is our Christmas gift. Like, we do whatever we can to take a trip instead of presents.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
That's a whole other topic. But when we went, we decided not to surprise the kids this year. Instead, we told them about it, but we did surprise them each with an experience because we still wanted to give them something else, which seems unnecessary, but it's what it was.
Yeah.
So for Lorelai, we booked Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and for Lucas, we booked Pirate League. So it was
We've done neither, so this is exciting.
It was so cute. Well, I'm going to be sharing that stuff later, so it'll be on the YouTube. But so that was really fun. I took him down there. He went through the whole experience and got all dressed up, and then we went around and met characters. He did. Yep, he got that. It's over there.
Nice sheet of paper. It was a charter that was like, you are now part of Captain Jack's crew, and he has a pirate name and everything else. It's
that is
really
awesome.
Fancy, like charter that makes him a pirate. So he became a pirate.
And this is the name. So they have you roll some dice. And according to whatever the numbers that show up on the dice, then they put together, you've probably seen those things before where it's like, oh, look at this number or this and match it up with your first and last name. And so that's what they did. So Robert Blaststriker. But the pledge that's on there, they actually do say, so once they finish getting you all set up, then they're like, you have to recite this. And then there's this part of it down here at the bottom that they just speed read really fast. And then all the kids laugh because they're like, oh, I can't repeat that. And it's really cute. And so he went through this, but then we went around and we met like Pirate Goofy and Pirate Donald and Pirate Stitch and got on pirate character experiences with his pirate getup. Now, before we share about Pirate Night, because we were talking about luck, when we took the kids down to Universal last December in 21, he was so obsessed with the Ollivanders experience.
By the way, gotta give you a shout out. Great
What's
vlog
what?
on your YouTube channel for your wonderful trip down to Universal where you surprised the kids. So make sure you check that out. You won't want to miss that. Go ahead.
Yes, you get to see Lucas when we wake him up at 4:45, and he's like, "No, I'm not getting up right now. This is not happening. Leave me alone." And their reaction was really, really sweet. But he kept talking about Ollivanders. Kept wanting to do it. We kept saying, "Buddy, we're going to do it tomorrow. We're going to do it tomorrow." It was so much and so incessant that we were like, "You bring it up again, we're not doing it at all." So then the next morning we go into the parks and we're like, "Yes, we're going into Ollivanders. Don't say anything or we're going to change our mind." We get in line and we're like, "See?" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited." And we're talking with one of the team members and was like, "This is what's going on. This is what's happened." And it was really awesome because I'm sure that part of that chatter and the fact that we're at the front of the line and they could hear all the excitement was what encouraged them to say, "Pick this kid." But he got picked to be the kid who goes up there and gets to do all the different wand stuff. It was, I don't know if you've watched that or not, but when you watch that Ollivander experience, you can hear me in the background like, because I was like, ah! So anyway, take it away with Pirate Night.
So was when you did the characters, real quick, when you did the characters and he was in his character and he was all dressed up, was Pirate Stitch and Pirate Goofy part of that experience, or was that Pirate Night characters?
Just Pirate Night characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so go. Yeah. So part two.
Part two, because we timed it for Pirate Night, because why not dress up as a pirate on Pirate Night? And we got really good seats. We got there really early and we ended up front row, right? There's no chairs. Front, we were right up against the ropes because we wanted to have the best view. It was exciting. It was fun. So we get right up there and we're sitting there, and one of the cast members came around. At this point, there was a lot of people just all milling about and waiting to watch the show. And Paul came around and said, "Hey, how would you like to be part of the show?" And pulled him aside and put him up on stage next to Captain Jack.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like he was one out of 4 people that were in the crowd that got pulled out and put on stage. So when he's older, we'll get him to play the lotto so we and go on trips all the time. But he's had 2 years in a row where he's just been like picked out of a crowd and gotten to have that extra level of amazing experience. Because he stood up on stage next to Captain Jack he was playing an accordion, and they asked him a question ahead of time that his pirate partner was able to recite as part of the show. His answer was part of it. The long and short of it is, and sure there'll be part of the video when we put that up, but he was just like, the look on his face, and that his eyes never left her the whole time. She was a little bit panicked because he was in front of so many people, but it'll be something he never forgets. And he's just like, sure, it's amazing to be able to meet all these characters for anybody. The oldest had excitement when they met Stitch, but I think for him, we got charted this as you're part of the crew. Sure, now you're standing next to him.
Yeah. And
you're very much so part of the crew. So,
and Captain Jack even told him when he said his answer, Captain Jack goes, "Oh, I like this one."
Oh.
So he had just that next level of just, it was amazing. And he was blown away by it.
So then we have the 16-year-old. Mm-hmm. And there's, we've taken ours, and they both have gone to the Edge and Vibe. And the last time they were separated because Polly was in Edge and Zach was in Vibe. So Aaron, they were able to go to the Vibe, and when there is, did Aaron have any kind of nervousness about not knowing anybody? Nobody was from their school. Nobody was like that.
Yeah, no, and some of that, it's kind of hard to hear. We learned a lesson. We need to get microphones for vlogging, but we were walking to Vibe, and you can barely hear Aaron saying, like, I don't know, I'm kind of nervous. They were really nervous about it.
They have anxiety challenges anyways.
Yeah.
Like so many of us did when we were teens.
Yeah.
But so it wasn't, they're not gregarious until they start to warm up. Then they're gregarious and they're fine. But initially at first, it was very much so I don't want to talk to anybody, and I'm a little bit concerned that you're planning on leaving. And we went in, and it was still a little bit of open time for the parents to go through. Yep. So we kind of dragged them around, and we looked at everything and kind of came off to the side and just started to chat with a cast member. And the cast member caught on real quick that Aaron was in that situation of just super nervous. You get that closed off, your hands are all tight and in, and they're not relaxed. And was really just so, the cast member was just so empathetic and was there to just, hey, it's okay, it's cool. You can hang out with me, and let's just be you and I for a while, and that'll be cool. And, it was very much so understood and was happy to help and kind of help them get out of that shell. And it worked out really well. After day one, I think they were there pretty much every day. Like they just were like, I want to go back. This is all I want to do. Met a bunch of friends that I think I don't know if they still are in contact, but they traded numbers and stuff. And they got to do, it's also Pirate Night, I believe, where they were part of the Flash Mob. So
How'd that work out? What was that all? Where was that out on the deck or?
So one of the few things that I didn't tell them was that they will have these flash mobs for pirate night, and there's practice, and all throughout, throughout the days leading up to it. And so it was really fun. They would actually leave and go, hey, I'm gonna have dinner, but I gotta leave really quickly because we're all meeting up to do rehearsal. I gotta leave because we're meeting up to do. So they kept leaving to go do that. And then so pirate.
And one quick thing there, we actually gave them a midnight curfew.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
We felt so safe on the ship.
Yeah.
That we just said, you can go. You're perfectly fine. Just be back by midnight so you can get some sleep. That's all we're asking.
Right.
Come into the room and be quiet. We're going to say you're here. Just not a problem. And that's a level of comfort that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
And it was just so easy to say, oh, you're fine. Go play.
Yeah.
You're good. Take off.
Yeah, it was really nice. And I think it was also really nice for them. It's one of the things that like they kept emphasizing, because I took notes on what the kids said. So I was true to what they said, but for them, it was vibe and the sun deck was their favorite thing. Just the whole entire experience that vibe was, and the interactions they had with the peers that they met. But then, yes, the sun deck was just insane. But pirate night activities. So not like the character, but the actual pirate night thing with Pirate Jack. That ends. There's one kind of dance song, and then it morphs into the Pirates of the Caribbean, or Pirates in the Caribbean in this case, song. And all of a sudden on funnel vision, you see this whole group of teens that are all doing this dance together, but they're further back on the sun deck, and it was so much fun, and they had a blast.
Yeah, very much so.
It's later, but yeah, because I think that was like at 10:30 by the time that happened. So
yeah, we didn't leave that night until midnight. That was a midnight night.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was fun. I think fireworks weren't until 10:30 or so, and then the dancing. And Lucas was like, I don't want to go back. I want to party. So I was like, let's keep dancing. Sure, why not? And we kept dancing on the deck with everybody else. It was just a great time.
It was really cute. It was really sweet.
Well, that's what.
But yeah, as a quick like.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's what I loved about cruising is that, versus the parks. The parks are over, the fireworks go, and now it takes you an hour to get back to the resort or whatever, to your room. Yeah. But here you're on the ship, you get it, and then you're back to your room in probably 3 or 4 minutes, and you get ready and you're done. It's just the level of just ease that it has, and takes away a lot of that anxiety even for the adults. They're like, okay, everybody stay close. We don't want to lose anybody. Get back to the parking lot. And yeah, it's great.
So what do you have to read for us?
Completely agree. Well, I was just going to say, so when I did ask the kids, just so I'm being completely honest about what they said with Lorelai character experiences, after that, she kept saying like Elsa princess. And we were like, oh, when you got to dress up, because she picked the Elsa dress for Bibbidi Bobbidi. And it was just adorable. But yeah, so that was her next thing. The kids club, she said that she really liked. And then she kept talking about the Mickey slide in the pool. So not necessarily the aqueduct. She actually liked the twist side. We just would sit in our chairs right there, and she'd go up and come down, go up and come down. We were just like, all right, we'll hang out right here.
Hold on, no question.
Otherwise,
you guys ride?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to ride that one.
I mean, but did you ride the aqueduct?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did that one. But like the one that she was doing, you had to be between like 54 inches high at maximum, and then there was like a minimum.
Okay.
So it was really meant for like that middle kind of group of kids.
Yeah.
And she just barely made the height for what she needed, and she was just up and
Yeah. Otherwise, her last thing was the bunk bed. Like, I actually have on footage us coming back in the room. I think it's the one that went up today, but it was like for our first day at sea, where we got back in the room and she was like, my bunk bed, yay, it's back. And it was like, yeah, okay. She loved that.
And
bed.
they had the stars. They had the stars up.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cute. For Lucas, he said meeting Pirate Stitch, the pools. I think Lucas liked the freedom that was at the pools, because he's comfortable enough in water, and because there isn't enough lifeguards and everything, we just kind of let him go. We're like, come check in with us, we're going to be here. But he'd go to the Donald pool, he'd go over and he'd ride the aqueduct by himself, and then he'd come back and then whatever. So I think for him it was that. He actually said one of his favorite things was the view from our room. He really liked being able to sit out at our room, and I was like, okay. Otherwise, he said that, yeah, right. Well, I'm going to say that because Mom said that. But he really loved the kids' clubs. He was always asking, like, when are we going to be going? He really liked Castaway. I tried to ask him, what about it? And he was like, all of it. So I think he just liked all of it. I think he liked the memories he got to make with you, in the ocean. And I know that they really liked it. We did a glass bottom boat, tour thing. And I think the kids really loved that. You got to feed some fish and just, it was really pretty.
Yep.
So, and then, Aaron, Vibes on Deck Pirate Night, sailing away. They actually said the sailing away party was one of their favorite things.
And that one was another one of those, we got front row again.
Oh, wow.
And we stood for muster, and even at muster, she and I were talking, and it was, okay, the stairs are over there.
Game plan.
And I'm going to start running. And I ran from deck 4 to deck 11.
Oh, my gosh.
I kept up for 3 flights, but I was carrying Lorelai.
Hurting, and that was fine. But we got, I ran and got to the deck, and there was 4 people. So I was able to hold the spot right up against the ropes and put the family right up against the ropes, pretty much dead center for the center of the party.
So those characters came out, and Lorelai was like, "Oh my god!"
And that's
they're right there.
Day 0, right? You're just getting under.
Yeah.
You might have seen Minnie or Mickey, period, when you came on up in the atrium, and that's it, because they're busy and we're running them around, and maybe you catch a glimpse of somebody, but it's not major. Yeah. Your big one shot was coming in the atrium, so seeing all of those just right in front of her, that was that moment of just jaw on the floor. She didn't know what to do, starstruck. She'd start squealing when another one came
jumping
out,
up and down and clapping.
And that was my fun, just sitting there watching everybody else, her reaction, the kids' reactions. I just kind of sat there and was like, okay, it's cool.
But yeah, the only other thing, so Aaron said that, I think for them it was partially, Aaron's spent years, about as long as Luke has been alive, watching vlogs with me. We haven't watched them together in a while, but we used to watch them all the time. And so that's always like that big moment, like you're officially starting your vacation. And so I think it was almost as big of a deal, but it's one of the couple of times that we cried together, was just like, oh my gosh, the countdown and the horn goes and you're like, I'm here. And we were both talking about that together. So I think that might be what it was for them, but I don't, they just said sailing away party. They also said formal night. They liked formal night, and they really liked Castaway as well.
What about formal night? Did they dress up or?
They did. Yeah. They stole my shoes because they didn't bring any. Oh, wait, no, they had this really pretty dress. No, they did. They did extra makeup and did put on a cute dress that they brought. And, they went to Vibe and did some stuff with them. That was like the first night that they stayed out real late because they then came back and they watched the kids for us the following night so that we can go have a date night thing, which was really cool. But
they got Remy too.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, this was just so we could go down to the tube.
Oh.
But we did go do Remy. We did do Remy.
We followed the brunch, and then I sort of went off and went rogue and got us Remy dinner, and she's happy but not happy. And then, but that night particularly, it was we had met other adults who were cruising, and they were like, well, we're going to be down at the tube, and we're gonna go and have drinks, and we were like, that would be fun, but we have kids. And the eldest was like, I'll watch it, no problem, and left them at the kids club until I think 10 o'clock, and then the eldest had the rights to go and pull up the other two, and went down and grabbed the other two, and they went to bed, and everything was fine, and we went and had drinks and danced and laughed and had very much so adults only kind of experience where you didn't have to worry about the kids. And the bulk of that time, up until like 10 p.m., the kids were in the kids clubs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it was really, really cool to be able to have the freedom as an adult to say, go play, and not stress it. And the freedom as the kids to be able to go, okay, this is fun, and go play. So it was really nice to have that kind of from both directions, to hear that from their perspective, and then to have ours of seeing that ability to just go play.
Yeah, I think they really want to go. Lorelai keeps talking about Disney World, although it's a cruise, but she keeps calling it Disney World. And 15 minutes after being home, like the day that we finished our drive home, within 15 minutes, Lucas gave me a letter that was like, thank you so much. I had so much fun. Can't wait to go on our next one. So I think they had a good time.
I think they did. Oh my gosh. Well, and it seems like you guys had a good time as well. And That's you know what, this is exactly why Brian and I started this, is so that we could talk to other people about Disney cruising. You know, when you come home from your vacation and you see your friends or you talk to your family, they only care to hear for about a 45-second clip of what you did while you were gone. And it just extends the magic so long, and it's such a happy environment, and it's helped us make friends like you. And this is what, for us, Disney cruising is all about. So thank you guys for joining us today. Viewers out there, make sure that you follow Vintage Concierge Explorers on not only YouTube, so you can catch all the wonderful vlogs that she's been doing, but follow her on Instagram as well. Are you anywhere else, or are those your two main ones?
So Vintage Concierge Explorers is going to have some highlights, but if you want to follow our family vlogs, that's going to be on the Motivational Pinup.
Okay. So make sure you check her out, and her links, of course, will be in the show notes. And we will see you two soon, and we'll see you all at home soon.
See ya.